Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge Podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, senior Lakers insider and lead Lakers creator for Offside. We're going to find a better title for that because that's just really clanky and clunky. But anyway, I do videos for Offside. I am joined on this fine Monday night by Raj Chapalu, who writes words for SB Nation and his own. I actually saw, because I'm getting a little bit more involved with TikTok. I saw that you dropped a TikTok like breakdown thing.
Yeah. I've been putting some videos up there. Me and Edwin do some post games as well after the game on the courts. I was at the South Bay game the other day, as well, covering that one. People are like, "Why are you tweeting about South Bay?" I'm like, "I'm here in the building. Like, I'm literally watching them in front of me." So no, it's been fun and some cool, exciting stuff to launch as well coming up this week.
I can't wait to find out about it. So today in the show, we are going to be talking about that win. The Lakers bounced back from that embarrassing loss that they took in Atlanta. First half wasn't all that inspiring. JJ Redick was kind of pissed going into the tunnel at halftime, and then the Lakers started playing defense in the second half. And wouldn't you know it, that's kind of important. And it helped them build out a large double-digit lead, and they were able to ride that wave on through to the tune of a 121-111 victory in Charlotte over the Hornets. We will get to the details, obviously, of the game over the course of the show. Also in this episode, I want to talk about Austin again, because you could see the difference in the offense with him out there versus when he is not. And I just, for the amount of comments that I still somehow continue to get about get this guy off of the team, or that the assets and all that stuff would be better used on other stuff. Waves generally to this game again. So I want to talk about him. We got to talk about Rui, because I know a lot of times we talk about Rui as a trade candidate and a trade asset and all of these things. He's been unconscious as a shooter this season. And his shooting stats probably got better after this game as well. So We'll talk about him and then anything else that comes up over the course of the show. I also want to laugh at some point about Nico Harrison rolling out a separate flight of stairs so that he doesn't have to like.
That's sad though. Like, I feel for the Mavs fan base in this whole situation.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Nico, and I was like, don't say that.
I can tell you thought that's where I was going. You tried to stop me before I went there. No.
Solid kick save and a butte there. Like, I was like, Raj, no.
No, he created this bed. He's supposed to lay in it. But the Mavs fans did not create this bed at all. Like, they did not order this. It showed up at their front door. They're like, what kind of mattress is this? And they're forced to kind of sleep in this. So I feel for them.
I could have just seen it. Lakers YouTuber says he feels for Nico Harrison. It just goes crazy viral, and it's all these other Mavericks right. YouTuber dunks on Lakers YouTuber for terrible Luka or a Nico opinion.
Right.
Oh man. Actually, I'd have welcomed it. We could use the subscribers. Speaking of, please do hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button, all of those good things. And if you guys are listening to this in the morning via your podcast, your preferred podcast app, hopefully it's Odyssey. If not, whatever you choose is fine with me. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button, 5-star reviews, all of that good stuff. And as always, tell your friends about the show as well. All right, let's go ahead and dive on in. 121-111 was the final here. The Lakers were led, as usual, by Luka Doncic, who scored 38 points, dished out 7 assists, grabbed 6 rebounds, only turned the ball over a couple of times, had a steal, was a plus 16 on the night. For Charlotte, they were led by an unconscious Miles Bridges, who scored 34 points, on 11 of 19 shooting, 7 of 12 from 3-point range. He actually really cooled off in the second half because I think in the first he was like 5 of 5.
Yeah.
And then he also grabbed 8 boards, dished out 5 assists, had a steal and a block. Elsewhere, also for the Lakers, their entire starting 5 all got to double digits in this one. You had, like I said, Luka with 38, Austin with 24, Rui with 21, Ayton with 14, Marcus Smart with 13. Jake LaRavia went back to the bench in this game with Austin back. I thought that was an interesting decision that might be worth discussing as well. In his roll off of the bench, he scored 6 points. He's kind of struggled shooting of late. 2 of 8 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3-point range, and did grab a board, dished out a few assists. Was not the best Jake LaRavia game. So still, though, at the end of the day, the Lakers picked up a win. And I wanted to start with, your thoughts, Raj, on this, like the notion of this being a bounce back game. Was this something that, like, what were your kind of expectations going into this?
Yeah, I thought they would come out, and I thought offensively there was a lot more poise and understanding of what they wanted to do. I kind of threw the Atlanta game out, even as someone who tries to live and die by each game film. That was a tough one to really evaluate anything. It was very clear that the Hawks came out, were super hot, and the Lakers just does not have the defensive kind of effort and mind state to be competitive enough in that game. I think down 17 after the first quarter, and from there they were basically playing catch up without Austin as well. Not another ball handler to really give Luka a break. But tonight, I thought Charlotte also just came out hot. I think they have the best shooter, like rookie shooter drafted. I don't know, maybe since
in a while.
Clay. Yeah, maybe since Clay.
I mean, we were supposed to be able to say since Dalton, but
okay. I mean, yes,
here we are.
Dalton, there's still time to become a player that he's trying to get to. But in any case, Charlotte seems like they found one in the draft, and he came out hot. Miles Bridges, you talked about, I think it was 4 for 4 from 3 in the first quarter. But they were able to make the run in the second. Austin and Luka and Ayton, to me, those 3 as just an offensive hub, those guys are just really tough to contain for 48 minutes. That's a lot of offensive firepower. And I thought eventually Charlotte would go cold, and the Lakers went up by 17 or something and really kept them at bay. And then Rui, I just keep beating this drum because it's one that I feel like is. I remember when the DFS trade happened, I shared this a lot, but it felt like Rui took the D'Angelo Russell, like, I got the world on my shoulders now. Kind of every game is a referendum on if I'm a good NBA player or not. Rui has just been really good, really solid. You'd want him to rebound more, sure. You want him to be more of a defensive wing, sure. Those two-way wings make $30 million plus. He does not make that. He's at $17 million per year. But his efficiency has been awesome. I asked him in the preseason kind of what your role would be out without LeBron, and he kind of slyly mentioned, like, hey, there's more space for me to operate. There's driving room. There's driving room for me, without another post player out there. And Ayton spacing to the free throw line, I think, has just opened him up to be able to attack weak side of isolations where he's by himself. His fadeaway is going in at a rate that I think has been in the best as a Laker. And I think part of that, Anthony, is he's in rhythm. Like, he dribbles the ball for multiple times a game. And he's a guy that gets to catch. He gets to read. He gets to kind of decide where he wants to attack versus always being a catch and shoot guy. So I don't know, all those things kind of stuck out to me before we get to OKC. But again, this is kind of what you want to see. This is what good teams do, right? They go up big on a bad team that's shorthanded, a lot of dudes playing free, and then keep them at bay for the rest of the game, where a lot of dudes look like they were having fun. Luka joking with Austin, hitting a shot from 3/4
like
court,
taking turns taking 3/4 court shots.
Right.
I really quick aside, I know it's stupid the way that we arrived here, and it's lame that it took a rule forcing guys to shoot the heave and stuff like that. So I think it sucks. It's really cynical that it took that to get to this point, but it has added a little extra something to the end of these quarters, right? Like, I've really enjoyed. Austin fired one up from 96 feet.
Did you see? He usually takes them, though. He's not one of these guys the rule was made for.
Oh no, I know. He wouldn't take it before. He wouldn't have chucked that shot. He would not have thrown
Okay, maybe
the
not the
ball from
one-handed chuck.
96.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Maybe
the
not that one,
sky
but
hook from 96 feet. Like, I don't think we would have seen that from him. But like,
okay.
I don't know. I just think again, it sucks the way that we got here, but we got here. You know,
Yeah.
like it's like going on a road trip with your family. The road trip itself, being in the car for as long as you have to be, that sucks. But when you finally arrive at the vacation destination, all right, I like it here. I could deal with this. But no, I want to expand on your Rui Hachimura points, and we have a football game going on, like while you and I are talking right now. The Eagles and Green Bay Packers are just stuck at 0-0. It's been a hideous football game.
Amazing.
But the reason I'm going to make another football analogy here is because in football you have a position called tight end, and tight end is basically like a bigger receiver
That's what
who
Travis Kelce is,
traditionally,
right?
like for the vast majority of my life watching football, there was another blocker there who would like occasionally sneak out and grab a reception here and there. And then you had guys like Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates and eventually Rob Gronkowski and so on and so forth, who got more involved in the offense. And what getting tight ends more involved in the offense led to was you would eventually arrive at a place where you still have elite tight ends who are great at blocking, but also are great at receiving the football, right? So the Gronks of the world, Travis Kelce, so on and so forth. But it also led to a version of the position where you would have guys who did not block, who were not good blockers as tight ends, and yet they were elite when it came to catching the football. There's a huge, big frame, big weapon. The best kind of name that comes to mind here is Jimmy Graham, who used to play for the New Orleans Saints. And he was not a good blocker. He knew he at one point tried to argue that he was actually more of a wide receiver than he was a tight end, because wide receivers get paid in a different like kind of bracket or whatever. And like, while Saints fans and football fans eventually would have preferred that Graham would learn how to block and be better at that aspect of the game, it didn't take away from the fact that he was still an elite weapon offensively when he was still in his prime. And I kind of look at Rui Hachimura the same way. Yeah, he could be a little bit better defensively. Yeah, he could be better as a rebounder. Yeah, he could do more of the little things, in at a higher level. However, right now, the way that he's playing, I sent out a tweet, and then our buddy Matt Moore quote tweeted it with a pretty astonishing stat that, by the way, there's a decent chance that Rui Hachimura actually improved on his shooting stats after tonight.
Yeah.
So I tweeted out, Rui really doesn't get enough credit for the strides he's taken as a shooter. Matt quote tweets it by saying Rui is number 2 in effective field goal percentage in half court via synergy. He's at 68.1% in the half court. The only player better, Raj, I don't know if you saw this tweet. The only player better than Rui is Jokic, who is at 68.4%. So that means Rui is only 0.3% worse than the best basketball player in the world at something. That is insane, Raj. That is unbelievable. And yeah, again, like we can nitpick and we could say all these things. If Rui did all of those things better, he'd be a $50 million a year player. Like,
yeah,
we're talking about not a max, but a super max player. If he defended at the level that people would prefer that he defended, and if he rebounded at the level that people preferred that he rebound at, and also produced offensively this efficiently, he would be a top 15 player in the sport, maybe even higher.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry he's not that.
No, he's not. But just aside, Jokic is freaking ridiculous. Like, for the volume the volume of stuff that he does, for him to be number
he's
one and
figured out the sport.
Yeah, like Wemby obviously is his own alien, but Jokic himself as well as an alien. No, I think again, Rui 100% deserves credit. He was a 42% 3-point shooter last year. I think we just take stuff like that for granted, obviously, because the stuff that he isn't gets magnified. Obviously, when you go into deeper playoff series and people can scout you, there's stuff that they can take away. But for an 82-game grind, like without LeBron, Rui is extremely vital to this team. He's a guy that can start at the 4, gives you some size there, is able to play to kind of play these bigger centers. He had the biggest defensive play against Wembanyama a couple of days ago, right, where he drew the charge, able to kind of body up on him. He's just been super solid this season, and his shooting's been magnificent. Now that will come down. Like he's not gonna shoot, I don't know, like prime Chris Paul from mid-range every single game. Like that's gonna, fluctuate. But I think if he continues to get these type of shots, and to me, these are shots that are right in his wheelhouse, just catch and shoot. He had one where Marcus Smart drove and just kicked it back to him wide open at the top of the key. It was a big shot to kind of keep Charlotte at bay. He's getting catch and shoot threes in transition. And then I think this is something we talked about before on previous shows, but that fadeaway jumper is a shot Rui is looking for. Like that's a shot that he wants to get to. And that's a shot that is tough for defenses to defend, especially when you have Austin and Luka and Ayton on the floor. You usually don't have a wing that's really prepared for Rui's size. That's, hopefully something we can look forward to when LeBron also gets back. But I just think Rui's been so helpful. And at the contract he's obviously in a contract year. I'm sure I don't think extension talks went anywhere, and I doubt they will. But just in terms of this 82-game season, you're right. He's always in trade talks, and him and, I always compare it to D'Lo because both of those names, Hachimura, is a tradable contract. D'Angelo Russell, tradable contract. But he's been super solid to start this season. I think his defense also is a little bit better than he gets credit for. He doesn't rebound, but his guards average 20 rebounds a game. It's not a lot of boards to really come by. He's boxing out more this season, and the team, I believe, rebounds, better when he's on the floor. So, he's had a super, super solid start to the season.
That's an important note to make, that the Lakers rebound better when he's out there. That indicates that he's at least boxing out. He's at least being physical. He's not getting offensive rebounded on, which
right.
That's like if you're playing an active role in the other team rebounding better against you, okay, that's where you've crossed into a different territory. But if you're impacting it positively by being, big and by being physical and being, boxing out,
mm-hmm.
that really helps this case. All right, next thing that I want to talk about here is Luka. And Raj, I got this question over the weekend, and I'm curious what you thought about it. No, I said it at the time that I think it was a clear kind of overreaction to the way that the game went Saturday night. But one of the questions that I got Sunday for the mailbag was, can the Lakers win through Luka ball? Like, can they win a championship playing Luka ball? And my response then was like, they aren't going to, because you have Austin, because you have LeBron, all the stuff. But I did kind of wonder at times during this game if the rhythm was kind of somewhat off, because the ball was just in his hand constantly, no matter who was on the court. And look, he's Luka Doncic. He is one of the absolute best players in the world at this aspect of the game. So if you don't have the ball in his hand a ton, then you're kind of wasting him, right? Like, we're getting ready to go to Thanksgiving, and for some reason, the family that we go and eat Thanksgiving dinner with, they only have Jen cook deviled eggs, and she's a significantly better cook than anybody else who is going to be cooking at this event. And it's like, a drunk monkey can make deviled eggs.
Yeah, Jen's spotting up in the corner. Is that what you're saying? She's just spotting up. She's just spotting up in the corner, just waiting for the balls.
Yeah, like she's just, imagine having LeBron like set screens and only set screens. Like, it's crazy to me that they're doing this to Jen and me, for that matter. Like, they have other people in charge of protein, and I'm like, all right, I guess we're eating overcooked, dry ass, unseasoned turkey. I can't wait for this. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, like to get back to the Luka question, I don't want to make this a referendum on whether the Lakers can win with him or without him or not. But did you think that the balance tonight was kind of where it needed to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think that will automatically happen when Austin's out there, right? I just, those two have obviously found something where, again, turn-based has a negative connotation to it, but I do think there's a level of, all right, I attack my matchup, I didn't have anything, now you can attack yours with the defense a bit more compromised. They're finding more balance within that. But when one of those guys is out, especially without LeBron available, there's just not a lot of ball handling out there. So I saw that same sentiment as well. But I mean, Marcus Smart, Jake LaRavia, like the ball handling dips well below where kind of your baseline is, especially against Atlanta, who has Dyson Daniels, right? A guy that can kind of really get after you. But yeah, I think tonight was much more better balance. And I always remember this quote though from Kobe used to talk about this all the time. He'd go, making teammates better isn't just giving them the ball, right? That's just not how this works. Like I don't just give. At the time, I don't remember. I don't know if it was Jordan Farmar or whoever it was, but it's like it's not just me giving him the ball and like me standing there. All right, I'm making you better, right? I think there's ways where all right, you can cut off my, off the attention I get. We can find ways to get you open in different ways, and I think you're seeing some of that. Rui, again, just to get back to him, he's found his spots where he knows. All right, when Luka drives and creates this advantage, I'm open here, and this is my shot. Like I know I'm getting the ball here. I have to be ready to either attack this closeout or shoot. LaRavia is learning that. And so I think you're seeing that. But I've seen some of this as well where it's like, well, Luka needs to shoot less. This is like, who do you think you traded for? Like, this is who Luka Doncic is. And this is just the basketball you get. And it's won at a high level. Now, does that mean Luka has no blind spots? No, there's definitely places he can be better. And he's talked about it. The shot selection, I think, is still just a dial above I'd like it to be. Like there was a shot today where he took a 3 in transition. Charlotte was kind of on a mini run. Those type of shots I'd like him to change. But I think when him and Austin and LeBron eventually get out there, you'll see the balance that you're looking for. But yeah, when like only one of those 3 are available, it's going to be a lot of that dude making a lot of stuff happen. And he almost did against Atlanta. I believe in the 3rd or 2nd quarter, they kind of made a run before, again, they pushed the kind of pedal on the brakes and blew us out. But yeah, I think tonight definitely is kind of what you're looking for. Those two taking, I don't have the shot in front of me how much they took, but it felt like those two kind of put up similar amount of shots.
Luka shot 28 times. Reaves shot 17 times. Okay. Now Luka only shot 5 free throws to Austin's 11. So I would say that based on shot totals and free throw totals, that's roughly the ratio you would kind of look for between those two guys. Yeah. Luka had 7 assists and Austin also had 7 assists. So I would say, like, overall, statistically, I would say it's a weird thing with, like, it might just be that I was so annoyed at the defense that I was like, oh, great, more Luka ball.
Sure.
In the moment, annoyances elsewhere on the court can kind of leak into analysis here. And I thought at times that, the ratio seemed a little imbalanced and that he always had the ball, which is, again, like the understanding when you trade for Luka that he's always going to have the ball. But I thought it kind of tipped over a little too Luka heavy at times. But yeah, statistically, I would say that's kind of where it kind of needed to be. I'm going to rewatch this one and see, because I do want to see the differences between the first and second half. Because the defense I thought got a lot better, and Charlotte was shooting pretty unconscious in the first half, I thought. But I don't want to just chalk it up to that. Like, I don't want to just chalk up I thought the Lakers were a lot more intense and focused, at least at the beginning of the second half.
Just a quick extension on your Luka point. That something I've noticed, and we're still getting to know Luka, right? Just in terms of how many games we've gotten with LeBron, Austin. Luka's been here. I don't even think he's been here half a season yet in terms of game totality, if you count the second half of last season versus here. I do think he's more of a scorer than a passer. Like, I think the package of Luka Doncic is sold as, and he's one of the best passers in the league, no doubt. But I do think he leans more.
He's one of the best thrower of passes. Like, he executes passes really well, but that's not what he wants to do when he has the ball.
Right. And so he's definitely leans more scoring. And it's interesting having, like, he likes to beat up on bad teams. Like, and I say that in a glowing way. Like, if he sees that he has an advantage, he's going to absolutely pick at that. Like, he's not, he does not get bored with it. Something you've talked about. Like, he does not get bored with that matchup. Like, if you allow Luka to get 65, he'll get 65. Like, he's not going to get to 40 and go,
there's like some coaches who'll be like, you know what? If you're going to beat us, it's going to take 60 from Luka. And Luka's like, oh, fuck yeah.
Right. Like, You're just
Here
gonna
we
keep
go. All
refilling.
right.
The buffet just keeps refilling. Like I can go get as many plates as I want. Cool. And so that's how you get the 73
I might
versus
not use
Atlanta.
buffet as the phrasing with Luka,
Oh,
but
okay.
like I
Yeah.
get your point.
In a positive light, of course. But like barbecue chicken buffet, the way Shaq says it, that was the way I was going after it. But yeah, I do think he leans
Keto,
more
like not fried food, but like healthy food buffet.
maybe impossible meat kind of stuff. Like
And only
but
before 8. Yeah.
but yeah, he does lead. He leans more scoring, which I think is an interesting kind of dynamic when you pair him with LeBron and Austin. I think LeBron leans more passing, so it's a really nice kind of synergy that they can have. But I just find that interesting because I think he's, again, to your point, he's an awesome passer. He has every pass in the bag like that he wants. But he's definitely more of like, all right, you stop me from scoring. Now I'm in the air. Let me see where the defense is versus like I'm driving specifically to get to this pass. And I think that's an interesting dynamic with him.
I completely agree. I completely agree with that. That like he uses his scoring to open up his passing, whereas
Right.
you have like the other end of the spectrum is somebody like Steve Nash who uses his passing to open up his scoring.
Right.
And look, like I don't think either is better. Like I think
Sure.
either end of the spectrum, so long as you could do both, I'm fine with you as a
Right.
as an engine to my offense.
Yeah, and Nash couldn't score like that, right? Either,
No.
right? So we like maybe if he had the powers, let's see what he would have done. But yeah, no, for sure, Luka definitely leans more scoring. Almost, he would have got to 40 again today if the game was tight enough. He would definitely.
They kind of like they really started fucking around in the second half and then the fourth quarter to the point where I was like, guys, the spread's 7.5.
Oh my god,
guys.
Awful. It was awful.
But yeah, I was
That's terrible.
But I want to talk about Austin though, because the analogy that I used in yesterday's show when we were talking about Austin is like the difference between grilling on a gas grill versus grilling using charcoal or using smoke or infusing smoke into a meal and the depth of flavor that comes from that. And I just saw it again tonight. Like the Lakers offense, there was nothing Charlotte could really do, honestly. Like
no.
There were times where, like, a lot of times it was just Charlotte hoping that the Lakers missed. Or that the ball would be passed to Jared Vanderbilt. But like but like the thing that watching Austin, and especially given the chemistry that he and Luka have, which I don't know if you've seen some of the TikToks, Raj, about the chemistry that Luka and Austin have. They're rather comical. But the thing that I would note with Austin and why I think he's so critical to what the Lakers are doing is that, and I've said this before, and I think you've made this point as well, and I think Pete has this, like anybody who has watched this team play a prolonged amount of time would note, is that Luka is not going to dice you up athletically, right? If he gets north and south, it's because he probably got a screen and he's got the guy who's guarding him in jail, and he's just looking to get to that like 7-foot floater where he leans into the defender and is really good at making it and turning it into an and one or getting free throws or screaming at the referee for not getting free throws. LeBron, if he gets vertical, if he gets downhill against a defense, it probably also came either with a screen or with a cut or what. He's not athletically where he used to be earlier on in his career, where he could go in isolation and get downhill against anybody. Austin is the only one of those three guys who can consistently get north and south against defenses and who can pierce the shell of a defense without a screen. Now, he can also do it obviously with the screen, and he navigates screens really well. But to me, like, having that kind of a threat just really makes the offense a lot more dynamic. And it's an aspect of the offense that, like, even if the Lakers didn't have LeBron, or sorry, if the Lakers had LeBron and Luka and were missing Austin, you would feel the lack of that aspect of the offense. Um, when Austin's gone, not having that aspect of the offense it really kind of trips him up.
Definitely. And again, just not the ball handling drop from just putting LeBron aside, Luka, Austin, the third guy after that. It's just a massive drop. I mean, Marcus Smart has filled in nicely. I feel like obviously Laravia has had his moments. Bronny has come in, Nick Smith Jr. But again, those are just levels of tiers under where Austin is at. And I think it shows, Anthony, like this is when you know someone's made a scoring jump, is that like he went 2 for 10 from 3 and still hit 24 points.
Yeah.
Like that's a guy that understands offensive flow, understands, all right, I can go on a mini 7-0 run by myself right here. Like that, the guy in front of me can't guard me. I'm gonna get to the line when I want because the guy behind him, the rim protection is not there. And I know I can go get 7 points in this 2-minute stretch. Like stuff like that is what scorers do. It's what guys who average 28 a game do. They pick different spots of the games. They find they can dominate. And to your point, like Luka needs another ball handler out there. I think he's excelled with that. That's when he's excelled the most in the past, when having Kyrie next to him. And now Austin.
Well, like specifically a ball handler who can pierce the defense, right? Like Jalen Brunson was able to go by guys. Kyrie Irving is one of the best ever at just getting by guys. Like Luka, like that's why sometimes it feels clunky when it's LeBron and Luka out there because they bludgeon. They both are hammers. They are both, blunt forces on offenses. Whereas you need that. You need the sickle. You need the knife to get to get into the middle of the offense that way.
Yeah, you need the like kind of Tasmanian devil rat that can just go inside and move stuff around. LeBron and Luka like to do a lot of their stuff in the post, or they're both very effective. And it's nice when you kick it out to a guy like Austin that's just like, oh, I see the rim. Like it's in my vision. Like I'm getting there. Whatever bump comes, I'm getting a shot up. And that's, I think, how he gets to 11 free throws. Austin led the team in plus minus as well, plus 18, right there with Luka, which was plus 16. But Austin is super vital to this team. And both of them, I continue to say this, and it's kind of caught on a little bit. I think this is the best backcourt in basketball. And I think that just – I see you wincing there. I understand. And I've taken this around the rounds of a bunch of people, and everyone has that same, well, and then I go, like, all right, name the back.
It's up there. The problem is, like, Luka's not a backcourt player. He defends small forwards.
Okay. I mean, he's going to go into the All-Star game as a guard. He's going to be named on an All-NBA team as a guard. Like, he's going to be positioned as a guard in all those facilities. Yes, you're correct. He doesn't always defend the other team's guard, and honestly,
never
you don't want him.
Does. Doesn't always. It's not like if he's on a guard, something bad happened.
Once in a while, he'll guard. Like if someone has a guard that is more in the 3-and-D, it's more in the 3-and-D lane of guards. Like yes, he will stay on them. But in any case, yes, if you want to make the defensive argument, you can. If you want to,
can we just say like offensive duo? Can we say that?
It's not as fun. That's not as fun. It's more. It's
an extra word.
It's my bad. It's tougher to take around. You know what I mean? Like, are they the best offensive duo when you count for Luka's small Luka defense? But in any case, still, I think it's an argument. I think the points you made are super valid in terms of the defensive stuff. But I think Austin, Luka, and Ayton I throw into this. Who we've been 30 minutes into the show. I've not brought up the guy that had 21 on the 9 of 12 shooting. I think that just shows the consistency Ayton has for this season versus us not mentioning him. But I think those three just give.
No, we did. Rui had 21 on 9 of 12. We had a whole segment.
Oh, sorry. 14 for Ayton. I was reading the box score incorrectly. 7 for 10 for Ayton, 14 and 6 for him on the night. But again, I think those three just as a hub created a floor that's really high offensively, and if the team locks in defensively, even against teams like Charlotte for 2 quarters, they can blow them out. They said something on the broadcast that was interesting to me. There are 3 teams in the East that are 1-9. What in the world is going on in the Eastern Conference? Like what? That's it's so wrong. That
know what's going on in the Eastern Conference. You have a bunch of owners who are just perfectly fine collecting rev share checks and not producing or not like contending. Now, Indiana is a little different because they're missing Tyrese Halliburton and they've had so many
Sure.
injuries or whatever. So, like, I'll give them a bit of a pass.
1-9 though, like in a league where parity has become, a lot more
Well, they're also tanking.
prevalent.
Like
There's a way to tank that is not disrespectful. 1 of 9 is nuts for the talent they have. Andrew Nembhard's still starting. Siakam is still playing.
It's a really good draft class, Raj.
It's
It's
just
like a really, really good one. Oh,
yeah, I didn't like that answer.
like Cam Boozer. I don't know if you've seen this guy play or AJ
But that's not even
Devonta.
how the lottery works anymore. The Mavs made
No,
the
I know.
play-in and got the #1 pick.
And I mean, look,
So the
if
logic
you
doesn't
get me
work
going talking about the Eastern Conference, like
Okay.
there should have been relegation decades ago because these freaking losers in the Eastern Conference, the Pacers among them, who have like never paid a luxury tax payment in the history of their existence, the Atlanta Hawks, the Charlotte
Yeah.
Hornets, like even Miami, right? They're a team that was considered a quote unquote contender or something close to it. And they just salary dumped a 3-and-D wing in Highsmith before the season starts so that they could duck under the luxury tax, something that they could do at any point over the course of the season. They didn't have to do it at the beginning of the season. And had their season gone poorly, maybe then you duck the luxury tax. But they were like, no, we got to do it now. Like the reason that the East is the way that it exists is because there are enough owners that continue to vote against reseeding the conference altogether. Like that. The Eastern Conference in the NBA is such a farce
Yeah.
that I can't stand it.
So
And it really kind of bothers me because there's going to be some Western Conference team that has like 48 probably wins this year, maybe 49.
Right.
And they're not going to be even a play-in team. Whereas some team with like a win total in the 20s is going to be in the play-in in the East.
So
And it's just like, it's farcical.
Well, like the Pistons are the #1 seed in the East, but they played the Nets and the Wizards twice. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, they get to play those teams, if I do my math, 12 times in the year, which is, I don't know. I find it super fascinating that.
Well, it's like, because I see the comment here from Malcolm is like, oh man, not this combo in the NBA already. It's like, look, here's the thing: owners are the worst part of professional sports. They are everything that's wrong with professional sports. If you are a fan of a team and you have felt yourself be frustrated with that team for any more than like a 5-year stretch, the reason that you're frustrated is because your owner sucks. Like, I'm a Vikings fan. I just know that the team that I root for is never going to win a Super Bowl because Ziggy Wolf and that entire group of cheap ass losers up there and while they make money hand over fist, are never actually going to spend up to the extent that you need to win a championship. And if they do, it's like once every blue moon. So your margin for error is like, all right, if we didn't compete in this one year, all right, we got to wait another 20 years to give it a go again. Like, it's just, I hate those people. And then there's all this talk about like, oh, the Dodgers are ruining the sport. Meanwhile, Major League Baseball is enjoying the best ratings that they have since basically like the 90s because everybody wants to tune in and watch the Dodgers lose. So, like, yeah, they've ruined the sport. They've ruined it by increasing interest in the sport. Those bastards. You monsters. You made the sport more popular. I hate you. But anyway, I want to talk about Austin before we get up out of here. We also have a starred comment that we'll answer at the end too, and any others that we get over the course of the show. But the thing that I want to talk about with Austin, on top of like, piercing the defense and that aspect of it that he brings to the table, but I also think what he like, I noticed this as soon as Marcus Smart started playing. And the direct contrast to the last, I would say, 3-4 years of the LeBron AD era is that like, and this was maybe before Austin got, gained his foothold in the organization, but like the Lakers really didn't have very many guys who just work their ass off, like just play really, really hard all the time. And they didn't have it earlier in the season before Marcus Smart got there. And then once he got there and started throwing his body all over the place and flopping and making defensive rotations, and every time I see him, I'm like, dude, that guy is sweating an inordinate amount. Like that guy sweats a lot. And like when there's nobody else to kind of set that pace, everybody just kind of moves at the same pace. And one problem that I think the Lakers have had is that LeBron and AD are both kind of like, because of the stages of their careers that they've been, they've both kind of gone with the flow of the game, and they've never really set a really hard tone for like how hard to play. Luka's the same way, obviously, defensively. You're never gonna like watch Luka defend and be like, all right, it's time to get after it tonight, boys. And it's nice that the Lakers now have like a top three guy who does compete really, really hard defensively and who does like throw his body around offensively and is clearly getting every last ounce that he can from the amount of talent that he has in his basketball body. And I think it's really helpful for a team and a culture in a locker room to have a guy like that. So like on top of the basketball aspect of what like Austin brings to the table, I think there's a culture thing that like a give a bleep factor that Austin brings that the Lakers really miss when he's not playing.
100%. He's also one of the dudes that steps in and takes charges like
all the time. Yeah,
all the time. And he did that obviously before he elevated into this player, but still does. Will put his face in there. The broadcast, Billy Mack and Stu will always bring up how much Austin falls, and that's just because of how hard he plays, right? So he's always on the ground. He's never, he never attacks in a way where he's saving himself, almost to the point where you have to kind of save him from himself with the minutes and stuff like that. But always aggressive, right? And I don't think effort was ever a question for him, especially even defensively, even with the defensive questions that can come up, from his frame has gotten strong over the summer, to point to your work, the work that you're pointing out. And again, I always point this out, but he's an organizational win in many different boxes. I mean, when you have a guy that played in your summer league is now, one of the top, players on your roster and one of the core pieces going forward, that's a big time win for your organization. And it allows you to kind of, look at other things and evaluate your organization in different ways. But no, Austin's growth has been awesome. I think you pointing out Smart is correct as well. And I think all that stuff is contagious. Like it just is. Exactly. You have both guys who play super hard all the time. One of my, concerns about this team was how finesse they were. And I think, Rui is another kind of finesse type of player, especially in the regular season, LeBron. But now, Austin and Smart bring this just from tip off. We're going at you. And I think that does kind of resonate. Luka doesn't in his own way. Like it's not putting his head down, going through you, but Luka has a consistent type of offensive attack that teams have to deal with. But I'm with you on that. Austin's kind of rise is more than just him going from a 20-point a game to 24-point a game. Like his playmaking has jumped. His leadership has definitely taken a jump. He's mentioned every time. I remember JJ Redick after a post game said it's his team as much as LeBron and Lucas. Like he has as much leadership and as much status or whatever to kind of say what he wants to. So I agree with all of that.
All right, let's go ahead and dive on into the super chat here, which means I get to play this bad boy. Whoops, my bad. That was an accident. It was not an accident. Did you see he dunked? It was his first dunk in like three years.
Wait, is Kirby now Luka? I thought that was Jokic.
No, it's a little Luka too. It's ironically Luka now because he's like skinnier now. So right. It's making fun of the fat jokes by making more fat jokes. Sorry, Luka. But all right, here's the actual clip. All right. So the comment that we get here from BG the Kid is Raj, what do we need to be a true contender? Any somewhat realistic names / player archetypes? I feel we need more on defense to deal with speed and size. Yeah, I would just say like defensive athleticism. But what are you thinking, Raj?
Yeah, trades in November. I love it. But,
I think
I'm
it's
just playing.
because they're good though. Like
I know.
I would
These
take
are
it as a
much better.
compliment because well, I guess if they weren't good, it'd be like, how do we fix this? But it feels more complimentary
Oh,
now.
it 100% feels much better now. I mean, these conversations are way better than they usually are.
Yeah.
No, to be a true contender, I mean, again, I think the way that I'm basing it is sorry, Anthony, you have the best backcourt in the league. You have LeBron James coming back. You have a center that I think has really stepped up, and I think the needs actually become more magnified in those situations. I think there's a athletic deficit we're still at, and again, I'm at the point where I just want to see it healthy, like it's in his arm's reach to me, but I can't grab it yet. I don't have that short arms, but like it's right in front of me. And LeBron James had announced that he's going to practice with the South Bay Lakers, who just swept their home and home this weekend, which I was there for. But no, like I think an athletic wing is obviously that's on the Christmas list for every team, for every contender. You can go and look at their Santa Claus wish list and go and see a two-way wing on there. But I think a defensive wing is probably still what I'd like. Vando has filled that sparingly, through games. I thought tonight he was fouling a little bit too much, but I think Vando's been helpful. But that type of shooting wing, Wiggins obviously is the name that's been brought up. I'm not sure if that's still on the table, especially with his, contractual situation. But I think that level of talent, like Derrick Jones Jr., who's playing in LA on a different team, that type of like a guy you can just throw on, the opponent's best player and go, hey, go guard him for a quarter. I think that's on the shoulders of Marcus Smart and Vando right now. I think they've done as well as they could, but I think one more guy in that place. But Anthony, I don't think we're that far off. Like I like this team a lot. I think like Ayton, Jake LaRavia, and Smart were all the additions with question marks, and right now all three are checked in terms of have worked out, and that's one of them is a starter, two of them maybe start, maybe come off the bench as LeBron gets healthy. But Keon Ellis, Dark Galaxy mentioned in the chat, who has the strangest career I think I've ever seen from a player that's good on the Kings. But Keon Ellis, another guy I would like. He's a guard, so it's tricky a little bit when you already have two guards that are going to take 40 minutes a game. I think that's where we're at. But I like to stay. I mean, 8-3 on I think 59 win pace right now. So I don't think we're that far. I think we need tweaks, which is a really good place to be in the Western Conference because we have stuff we can tweak with.
See, it's hard to like gauge what Sacramento would or wouldn't do. I always try to slant on the side of like giving too much in trades hypothetically. If I'm putting together a hypothetical trade, I always find myself maybe overcompensating to where like I'm overpaying from the Lakers standpoint.
Sure.
But like with Sacramento, because of how stupid they are as an organization, like I don't know if there's a such thing as overpaying, right? Because like they just do so much dumb stuff. Like I saw you before we went live, there was you had pointed out that the Sacramento's GM was throwing out Chat GPT inspirational quotes, like 10 games into a season. But like Doug Christie the other day, because I guess there was a chant, there was a Keon Ellis chant,
yes,
in Sacramento's arena, and he addressed it after the game, and he was like, well, the way that Keon can get onto the court is by playing defense. And it's like, one, he does. Two, he definitely does in comparison to Russell Westbrook, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan. And three, Keon Ellis does. It's one of the things that he's known for.
It's what he's known for. It's literally what he's like. It's literally what he is. He's one of the best defensive guards in the league. Yeah. And somehow he can't get on the court I
while
just
they're focused or while they need defense. So like so basically this is all me prefacing, the offer that I would maybe throw together if I were the Lakers, just to see how dumb the Kings might be. But something as simple as like Dalton in a second for Keon Ellis.
oh god, the Kings would tear the arena up. I mean, that would be
Kings
that would-
fans. Kings
yeah,
fans would.
that's what I mean. The Kings fans would tear the arena up. I mean, nothing against Dalton, obviously, but like the player you just chanted for, you throw him to the Lakers, like you send him to the Lakers, like the team they hate more than anybody else. You send him
Yeah.
there. So I don't know. Like you use the words again. You call them stupid and dumb, and I understand that, but just throwing that out for a second, because I really do try to give like these are smart people. Like these are Doug Christie's been in the NBA.
No, I
business
think that you have smart people working there. I think you have an idiotic, over involved owner. Like again, Sacramento has, like, they've had they've had two
good seasons.
stretches in the history of their time in Sacramento, right? You had the Mike Bibby,
Chris Webber
team that challenged the Lakers back in the early 2000s, and then you had the Light the Beam Kings from like a couple of years ago. That is it. That is all that fan base has to show for their fanhood and their loyalty to that team. And the reason, Raj, that is the case is because you went from an ownership group that was trying to move the team out of the state for a little while, that eventually went bankrupt, right, in the Maloofs, and then they sold to Vivek Ranadive, and he's somehow worse. I don't even need to mention the stuff that's going on with his daughter and the guys in that organization. But like, he's somehow worse. The first thing that he threw out there as a possible idea was whether or not the Kings should play 4-on-5. Remember that, Raj?
I do.
Remember that?
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. How does that come out, by the way?
They have like a nice, fun team. They have a nice, fun team. They have this slogan that the entire city rallies around, which is also, by the way, really cool. I find it really difficult to compliment the Sacramento Kings, and the Light the Beam thing was awesome. Amazing. That was such a cool thing that they had going, and the city was just rabid because they finally had good basketball again. And you know what they did, Raj? They turned Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox into some shitty picks from San Antonio and Domantas Sabonis. That's it. That's all they have to show for like this really exciting young backcourt that they once had. And no, like it's just crazy.
I don't want to make this about the Kings, but like, again, just go back one page of the book, right? Like you skipped a few chapters, like go back one page. Keegan Murray is a really good pick. Like I like Keegan Murray a lot. You had Fox, you had Sabonis, you had Mike Brown, who just, had won Coach of the Year. Then there was some strange thing that happened, and he was let go after like a 1-3 start, whatever it was. But you flipped the page right before even the Halliburton trade, which I at the time was like, Halliburton's much better. This doesn't make any sense. I didn't like the trade at all. But even with that being said, that's a good trade. Like Sabonis brought you from, all right, that's a good team, to, all right, we can really made the playoffs. And, I think they would have maybe beat the Warriors if De'Aaron Fox wasn't hurt. Like you can go back and look at that series, whatever. But to go from that to 2 years later, you're starting Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan.
A worse version of the Sacramento Bulls teams that Sacramento Bulls fans hated.
Like, who told you to pay Dennis Schroeder this summer? Like, I don't understand like what direction this team is going.
You probably paid Murray, by the way,
but you do, like, that's part of the NBA business, right? Like, you have your young guy go to the extension, you give him the max extension. I don't mind the Keegan Murray contract at all. But like DeRozan, like, why did you trade for LaVine? Why did you give Fox for what you did? I don't know. These are NBA franchises, and these are people who make a lot of money to make these decisions. You have that millions of fans. The Kings have a lot of fans and very passionate ones. I can't logically explain any of this. It just doesn't make any sense. So
don't try the dumbest thing that we can do as a species is try to use logic to explain the illogical. Ranadive is bad, dude. He's not a good owner. Like, he just doesn't understand what he's doing, and he's way too involved. And for some reason, at one point, there was there was a notion that Jeremy Lamb had real input on basketball personnel decisions. Jeremy Lamb, Raj. Like, we get frustrated over like Kurt Rambis and his involvement with the Lakers and stuff like that. Kurt Rambis won championships, plural. It was like a key part of those championships. So at least you have, like, at one point he was a decent basketball player. Jeremy Lamb was never particularly good. And yet he, for some reason, had like input on some of these deals because, again, his alleged relationship with Renadive's daughter, who, like, I think at one point was like, anyway. Anywho, back to the Lakers. Sacramento, get at us. Take on Dalton. Just ask Ross. There's a good basketball player in there somewhere. Maybe.
Yeah, he's had a better stretch. Like, his confidence is coming back. He's taking more middies, which I like. He's not getting to the rim as often as you'd want for the size that he's had, but the effort at least is coming there defensively. And they're trying to, like, especially with the amount of guys that they, with Gabe out, obviously LeBron out, I think Dalton's getting a chance to at least make a name for himself in the rotation. So.
Yeah, Dalton in a second for Keon Ellis. Let's get it done. All right. That is going to do it here for this episode.
I didn't say that. That was the other person on the mic.
Raj has been really fun. Again, check out Raj's work on occasion at SB Nation. And as he mentioned at the top, he has a TikTok account. It's at Raj Shapalu as well, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then, like he said, he apparently has some news to share eventually as well. Maybe, just maybe, seeing as we have a few road games here this week, he'll either announce it on the show or we'll celebrate it on the show. Either way. But until the next time you guys hear from us, which is going to be tomorrow, which I believe is going to be with Harrison, I am Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Shapalu. Have a great rest of your evening. Make somebody else's. And please, 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 Green Bay and Philly, keep playing this exact same game. This is going great for my fantasy team. I needed this one. Have a good one, everybody.